August 7th, 2025, 2:13 p.m., Jackson VA Medical Center, Mississippi. The heart monitor's erratic beeps pierced the sterile hum of the operating room as Nurse Emily's hands froze over Thomas McGrady's pale chest. Her eyes flicked from a jagged incision to the screen, numbers climbing where they shouldn't. "Doctor, this tissue, it's wrong," she whispered, voice trembling. Dr. Allen leaned in, his scalpel hovering, glinting under harsh lights. What lay beneath wasn't a tumor. It was a web, dark and fibrous, pulsing like a living thing. Thomas, 67, ex-Marine, Vietnam vet, had come for a routine biopsy. But this was no routine. This was a ghost from a war 54 years past, a chemical specter blooming in his flesh. One small lump had led to this moment, cracking open a truth he'd buried deep. What could grow inside a man for decades, silent, waiting? Stay with us as we unravel a story that'll make you question. What scars are you carrying, unseen? Thomas McGrady woke at 5:45 a.m., as always, in his Mississippi cabin. The air cool and heavy with pine. No alarm needed. Decades as a Marine had carved discipline into his bones. He slipped on a worn flannel shirt, its thread soft from years of wear, and shuffled to the kitchen. The battered kettle hissed on the stove as he spooned coffee from a tin older than his daughter, Claire. No measuring, just muscle memory. As the brew filled the air, he leaned against the counter, watching dawn creep through the trees. The cabin, built with his own hands in 1971, was small but solid. Every plank a testament to his survival after Vietnam. The living room held a wood stove, an armchair, a dusty bookshelf. Above it, a black and white photo. 6 Marines knee-deep in jungle mud. Thomas on the right, a cigarette dangling, eyes hiding chaos. Beside it, a folded American flag in glass, a Purple Heart he never wore, a locked leather box untouched for years. He took his coffee to the porch, the swing creaking under his weight. The sky glowed orange, shadows stretching long. Thomas, 67, was a man of few words. Neighbors called him Quiet Tom, polite but distant. Kids avoided his land, whispering he was a sniper or hid treasure. He let the myths be. They gave him space. Twice a month, he drove to town for groceries, gas, VA clinic visits for blood pressure meds. He skipped veterans meetings, church socials, talk of the war. Claire, his daughter, called Sundays, her voice warm but clipped. "How's your health, Dad?" "Fine. Meds." Every day. She'd stopped asking about Vietnam after her mother's death from breast cancer when Claire was 10. Thomas had held her hand at the funeral, knuckles white, eyes dry. "Soldiers don't cry," he'd said. She never saw him break again. The cabin was orderly, wore memoirs and medical guide on the shelves, a drawer of unopened letters to his late wife, written in Vietnam. His bathroom mirror showed a weathered man, strong but aged, a faded tattoo of a dagger through an eagle's wing on his shoulder. He slept on an Army-issue mattress, a photo of young Claire with her dog Duke on the nightstand. Some nights, he woke sweating chest tight, nausea passing quickly. He blamed age, kept it private. Pain was his to carry. One evening, brushing past a mirror, he noticed a lump below his left shoulder blade. Small, firm, no pain. He dismissed it as a bruise, maybe an old injury. But the itch came days later, deep, persistent, like something moving under his skin. By week 3, the lump had thickened, its edges dark and irregular, like spilled ink. 2 more appeared, rib cage, spine, smooth as river stones, unyielding. He tried antibiotic cream, Epsom salts, even bourbon, but nothing worked. One night, shirtless, he counted 7 lumps in the mirror, one pulsing faintly. The itch was constant now, a low hum in his nerves. Dizziness hit while chopping wood, a faint buzz in his skull. He sat, waiting it out, coughing dryly. A purple ring bloomed around the rib lump, black at its core. Dreams brought flashes, smoke, screams, an orange river. He woke, gripping the sink, telling himself it was nothing. But a red streak crawled from bicep to elbow, angry and thin. He didn't call Claire. He didn't want her worry, the hospital's questions, the pity. Then in the grocery store, his hand cramped. fingers locking as a can of beans hit the floor. Pain flared, then faded. That night, the mirror showed a new lump, pulsing stronger. He pulled out his flip phone, battery low, and dialed Claire. She didn't answer. He called again. "Dad, you okay?" she asked, voice puzzled. "Found something on my back," he said. "Probably nothing." But his tone betrayed him. "I'm coming tomorrow," she said. Claire arrived at 10 a.m., her car crunching gravel. Thomas sat on the porch, coffee in hand, nodding as she approached. "You look thin," she said. "I eat when I want," he replied. She insisted on seeing the lumps. He peeled off his shirt, revealing 8 growths, purple, yellow, one crack with black veins spidering out. "Oh, my God," Claire whispered. "Told you not to worry," he said. "This isn't worry, Dad. This is serious." Claire called her doctor, securing a 9 a.m. slot at Jackson VA Medical Center. Thomas resisted. "I've seen this before, Claire." "Well, McKay had it, Agent Orange. VA took 8 months to confirm, and he was dead in 9. Claire's voice cracked. "So you'll just wait to die?" He looked away. "Mom would have made you go." His jaw clenched. "That's low." "She loved you," Claire said. "You're not stealing my time, Dad. You're my time." He admitted numbness in his leg years ago, hidden to spare his wife's final days. Claire wiped tears. "I'm scared," he said softly. "Not of dying, of them cutting me open, making me not me." She took his hand. "We'll do it together." He nodded, the weight shifting just a little. "Have you ever ignored a sign, thinking it was nothing, only to realize it was screaming for attention? What's growing quietly in your life, waiting to be seen?" The Jackson VA Medical Center waiting room reeked of antiseptic and stale magazines. Thomas sat, arms crossed, flannel button high, hating the fluorescent buzz. The nurses rehearsed smiles. It reminded him of field tents, places where men change forever. Claire's knee bounced beside him, her eyes on the clock. When Mr. McGrady was called, she stood fast. He rose slowly, as if lifting more than his body. In the exam room, Dr. Allen, young but steady, greeted them. "Unusual growths on your torso?" he asked. Thomas shed his shirt, revealing the lumps. Dr. Allen's eyebrows lifted. He measured each, calipers, notes. "No rush." "How long?" "2 months," Claire corrected when Thomas said weeks. "Pain?" "No." "Dizziness, night sweats?" "Sometimes." "Vietnam?" Thomas nodded. "Herbicides." "Is that a serious question?" Thomas snapped. Dr. Allen smiled tightly. "Just thorough." He ordered an MRI, CT, and blood work, including toxin screens. In the MRI tube, Thomas closed his eyes. The machines hummed drowning thought. In the control room, Dr. Allen watched the scans build. Clusters of masses, some shallow, some deep, connected by filament-like threads, weaving through tissue like ivy. The CT with contrast showed more. No fluid, no necrosis, just a network, deliberate, alive. Back in the exam room, Dr. Allen was blunt. "These aren't typical tumors. They're a network, embedded deep, possibly systemic." Claire asked, "Cancer?" "I won't speculate yet. Could be autoimmune, could be dioxin-related." Thomas blinked. "Never tested for it." Dr. Allen tapped his tablet. Agent Orange was sprayed heavily in Vietnam, 1965 to 1971. Some veterans developed fibrotic tumors decades later. Your pattern fits. Thomas's mind flashed to 1969, Long in Province. The jungle was alive, wet, suffocating. His squad, 8 Marines, patrolled a Viet Cong supply route. Silence and a low drone. AC, 123 plane spraying mist, silver, odorless. Leaves curled, birds vanished. The air hollowed. The mist coated Thomas's skin, cold, unyielding. He scrubbed it off by a river, but it clung. Days later, they found a village, huts, chickens, a boy with wide eyes. Thomas gave him candy, saw him smile. "Exine cam on," the boy said. 3 days later, the village was dead. Chickens, a dog, the boy, curled up, black residue on his lips. No wounds, just silence. Command called it neutralized. Thomas tried to report it. No one listened. His squad mate Harris collapse weeks later, blood from ears, dead in minutes. No answers. The war moved on. Back in the hospital, Thomas's voice was flat. I'm not surprised. Claire pressed. Why didn't you tell me? Nobody listened last time. Dr. Allen scheduled a biopsy. For the next morning, outpatient. In the car, Claire gripped the wheel. You knew it was Agent Orange? Suspected, Thomas said. Suspecting doesn't change anything. She shook her head. What if we caught it earlier? You can't catch a ghost, Claire. They drove in silence, the weight of his words settling. At the cabin, Thomas sat on the porch, staring at the stars. Claire slept inside, but he couldn't. The jungle was back. Its hum, its eyes, its poison. He'd scrubbed his skin raw in '69, but it stayed, burrowing deep, waiting. The biopsy room was cold, the lights dark. Thomas lay still, local anesthesia numbing his flank. Dr. Allen cut into the largest lump, expecting soft tissue. Instead, he found grayish-purple webbing, black threads pulsing faintly leathery synthetic, a tar-like liquid ooze, chemical, bitter. This isn't cancer, he murmured. The nurse flinched. Is that supposed to look like that? No. He probed deeper. The mass resisted, laced into muscle, veins, nerves. Sent it to pathology and toxicology, stat. He ordered, sealing the sample. As they sutured, Dr. Allen's hand shook slightly. This wasn't a tumor. It was something else, something that had grown with Thomas, like a parasite from the past. Claire waited outside, clutching her bag. Dr. Allen emerged. It's systemic, maybe decades old. Possibly dioxin. Her throat tightened. Agent Orange? Likely. I've never seen this exact form. Thomas, in recovery, stirred. Claire took his hand, warm, too warm. I'm here, Dad, she whispered. His dog tag sat on the table, heavy with numbers. In his dreams, the jungle watched, waiting, reaching. What have you carried in silence? Thinking it was safer buried. What happens when it demands to be seen? Thomas's breathing changed by the second night, a wet rattle behind each inhale. Claire, glued to his ICU bedside, heard the click, the stuttered exhale. She hit the call button. Dr. Allen arrived. Stethoscope pressed to Thomas's chest. Jaw tight. Lungs are inflamed, he said. Could be biopsy reaction, could be systemic. A CT showed shadows in both lungs, black veins branching like roots, fluid building. It's blooming, Dr. Allen said, voice low. They hooked Thomas to a ventilator, its mask forcing air into collapsing lungs. Claire stood by the window, arms folded, praying clumsy words she hadn't spoken since her mother's death. Please let him come back. At 3:17 a.m., Thomas's heart rate spiked to 135. Alarms blared. Claire backed into a corner as the crash team swarmed. Code blue. Dr. Allen shouted, ordering epinephrine compressions, defibrillator pads. Claire sank to the floor, hands over her mouth. 7 minutes stretched like years. The line flattened, then stuttered back, weak but alive. Thomas's eyes opened briefly, locking onto Claire's. I'm here, she said, grabbing his hand. He convulsed, then stilled. The team stabilized him, but he teetered on the edge. Claire found his notebook in her bag, pages of unsent letters. To her, her mother, the boy in the village. He'd written of guilt, the candy, the silence, the war's weight. She read through tears, hours blurring. By noon, Thomas's vitals steadied. Dr. Allen brought lab results. It's dioxin, he said. In his tissue, blood, everywhere. His body's attacking itself. Claire swallowed. Will he wake? If he does, it won't be the same. She nodded, holding Thomas's hand. That's enough. Days later, Thomas woke, eyes drifting, settling on Claire. Hi, Dad, she whispered. He sipped water, voice gravelly. Thought I was gone. Too stubborn, she said, smiling through tears. He smirked. Agent Orange? Confirmed, she said. It's official. His eyes glistened. I wanted to tell you, he said. Couldn't. She shook her head. I read your notebook. The boy, the village, you carried it all. He nodded. You think I'm a good man? I know you are. Thomas spoke of Long and the mist, the dead village. He'd tried reporting it in '87. The VA sent a form letter, dismissing his claim. Claire vowed to try again. They talked. Her job, her garden, her loneliness when he'd shut her out. He listened, really listened. That night, he asked for his dog tags, looping them around his neck. I stopped wearing these when your mom died, he said. Didn't want to be that man. Claire smiled. You're better. Weeks later, Thomas returned to cabin, slower, leaning on a cane. Claire stayed, planting tomatoes, basil, squash. He journaled, not just war, but life. Rain, Claire's laugh, the sky's color. Veterans visited, sharing stories. Thomas listened, offered coffee, truth. Claire sent his notebook pages to the VA with the toxicology report. This time, they listened. An approval letter came, validating his exposure. Thomas added it to a wooden box Claire gave him, alongside dog tags, a photo of the boy, a .45 casing. It's not so heavy now, he said. Claire nodded. You're not carrying it alone. Have you carried a truth so heavy it shaped your life? Who would you share it with to lighten the load? Thomas McGrady's story is a testament to the scars war leaves, some visible, some buried deep. A lump, a biopsy, a chemical ghost from Vietnam forced him to face a truth he'd silenced for decades. Agent Orange wasn't just in his body. It was in his guilt, his dreams, his silence. With Claire's love, he found release not just from dioxin's grip, but from the weight of unspoken pain. Their cabin, once a vault for secrets, now holds open conversations, a box of memories chosen, not hidden. The VA's acknowledgement helped others, validating long-ignored truths. Some wounds never show, but healing comes in telling the truth and being believed. What's your untold story? What might change if you let it breathe? Share below, and if this moved you, subscribe. Let's keep uncovering the truths that make us whole.